All right, so since our rhyme earlier this week was about cooking and baking, I thought this would be the perfect book to share with you today. This is Thank You, Amu. So, Amu is a word in a Nigerian language called Igbo, and that's a language that our author spoke when she was growing up. Now, Amo, she tells us, means literally queen, but her family, they used it to mean something else. They used it to mean grandmother. So that's what inspired her to write this book. This is all about a grandmother who cooks a very special stew. You can see there, that stew is already looking really delicious. Oh, and those are our end papers. There's our note about what Amu means. And there's a bunch of buildings. Oh, you can see Amu in the lower left-hand corner there. She's got some bags. I wonder what she was shopping for. On the corner of First Street and Long Street, on the very top floor, Amu was cooking a thick red stew in a big fat pot for a nice evening meal. She seasoned and stirred it and took a small taste. What a delicious stew, Amu said. Tonight's dinner will surely be the best I have ever had. While the soup's cooking, Amu put down her spoon and went to read a book before supper. That's always such a fun thing to do while you're waiting. As the thick red stew simmered on the stove, its scrumptious, ooh, that's a fun word, its delicious, really, really yummy scent wafted out the window and out the door, down the hall, toward the street, and around the block until... Who's that knocking at the door? It's a little boy. Little boy, Amu exclaimed. What brings you to my home? I was playing with my race car down the hall when I smelled the most delicious smell. What is it? Thick red stew, says Amu. Stew, he sighs. That sounds yummy. It looks like he might want a taste of the stew. Do you think Amu's going to share it with him? She sure did. She thought about it for a minute. She was saving the stew for her own dinner, but she had made quite a bit. It would not hurt to share. Would you like some? She said to the little boy. Oh, the little boy nodded. I bet he really, really wants some. So Amu spooned out some thick red stew from her big fat pot from her nice evening meal. Now, what do we say when someone shares something with us? Do we say, thank you? And that's just what our little boy said. He says, thank you, Amu. And he goes outside, goes on his way back home. And with that, Amu closed her door and she went back to reading her book. As she read, her thick red stew, sumptuous, there's our fun word meaning yummy, sumptuous scent wafted out the window again, and out the door, and down the hall, and toward the street, and around the block until... Could it be this time? Someone was at the door. And when Amu opened the door, this time she saw... a police officer. Ms. Police Officer, Amu exclaimed, what brings you to my home? I was on duty down the street when I smelled the most delicious smell, Ms. Police Officer replied. What is it? Do you guys know? You know, it's thick red stew. Oh, stew, the police officer says, and her mouth watered. That sounds mighty tasty. Do you think that Amu should share another bowl of her stew with Ms. Police Officer? I don't know. Should we find out? She did. She shared again. Amu thought for a moment. There was still enough stew to share. Would you like some? She asked the police officer. The police officer nodded. Oh, she definitely wants some. And once again, Amu spooned out some thick red stew from her big fat pot from her nice evening meal. And what do we say? What do we say when someone shares with us? Thank you. Thank you, Amu, the officer said. And she went on her way. She went back outside. And Amu goes back to letting her stew cook on the stove and she reads her book. Amu closed her door. She went back to her book. And sure enough, as she read, her thick red stew sumptuous. I love saying that word. That is such a fun word. Scent wafted out the window and out the door and down the hall and toward the street and around the block until... What could it be this time? This police officer already has a bowl of soup. Who else is in the picture? Who else might want a bowl of soup? Did you guys guess right? It's the hot dog vendor. It's the man who is selling hot dogs outside. Mr. Hot Dog Vendor, Amu exclaimed. What brings you to my home? I was selling my hot dogs down the block when I smelled the most delicious smell, Mr. Hot Dog Vendor replied. What is it? You guys already know what I was going to say. It's thick red stew. Ooh, stew. The hot dog vendor licked his lips. That sounds quite delectable. That's another really fun word, like sumptuous, delectable. That sounds really tasty. And Amu was so nice. Amu shared again. Amu spooned out some thick red stew from her big fat pot from her nice evening meal. And the hot dog vendor has to say, you guys know, Thank you, Amu, the hot dog vendor said. And he went on his way. He went back to work. Wow, look at all the kinds of people on this page. I bet that more than one of them is going to want a bowl of Amu's stew. I bet she's going to be giving out a lot of it. I hope she has enough left over. Throughout the day, people from all across the neighborhood knocked on Amu's door. She fed a shop owner, a cab driver, a doctor, an actor, a lawyer, a dancer, a baker, an artist, a singer, an athlete, a bus driver, a construction worker, and even the mayor stopped by. Can you find all those people in the illustration? I think you can. Each time someone knocked, Amu shared. Oh no, I thought this might happen. Soon the sky darkened and the streetlights brightened. It's nighttime, right? It was finally time for dinner. Oh, but when Amu opened her big fat pot of thick red stew for her nice evening meal, it was empty. Oh, poor Amu. Amu sniffled. There goes the best dinner I ever had, she said. Sorry and blue, she sat at the table with her empty pot until... Oh my gosh, who could that be? Sounds like more than one person. When Amu opened the door, she saw the little boy, the police officer, the hot dog vendor, the shop owner, the cab driver, the doctor, the actor, the lawyer, the dancer, the baker. Whew, everyone she fed today was at her door. But she has no more soup. She says, I'm sorry, everyone. My thick red stew is all gone. I have nothing left to share with you. But the little boy tugged at Amu's sleeve and he said, Don't worry, Amu. We are not here to ask. We are here to give. So the police officer carried in a fresh salad, and the mayor entered with a roast chicken, and the baker brought a collection of sweet goodies. Even the little boy presented Amu with something something special in a shiny red envelope. I wonder what could be inside the envelope. Everyone who had knocked on Amu's door that day squeezed inside her tiny apartment, and together they ate, danced, and celebrated. Amu's big fat pot of thick red stew was empty, but her heart was full of happiness and love. Don't our hearts always feel so good when other people show us how much they care about us, and when we show others how much we care about them? And Amu thought that dinner was the best she had ever had. Oh, and I think we figured out what was in the red envelope. It was a thank you note from the little boy. It says, "Thank you, Amu." That was so nice of him to write her a thank you note for all the sharing that she did that day. All right, thank you so much for joining me for our lovely story time today. If you'd like to reread our book, Thank You, Amu, you can obviously watch the video as many times as you want, or you can check out the ebook version through our app Libby, or you can put a hold on the regular print version for curbside pickup, which is starting very soon. Have a wonderful rest of your day, Storytime friends. Bye-bye.